Senate President Bukola Saraki has reassured Nigerians that contrary to insinuations in some quarters, the relationship between the executive and the legislature is not only cordial but waxing stronger for sustainable growth and development of the country. This was while answering questions from newsmen after an audience with President Muhammadu Buhari. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the president also granted audience to the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara.
The Senate President Bukola Saraki, who arrived at State House at about noon Monday, met President Muhammadu Buhari for about 45 minutes behind closed doors. Addressing newsmen shortly after, Senator Saraki described his interaction with the Nigerian leader as routine, frank and fruitful.
Talked also about the INEC bill that we've passed. I took the president to some of the areas, very, very important areas, because you know the president over many years has been somebody who has gone to many elections and seen. So that was something that I was very excited about. Some of the new amendments that brought in electronic voting, talks about electronic process for collation. And these are landmark achievements that we hope that very soon the House will concur and we'll all come here one day for President to assent.
Reacting to insinuation in some quarters about the unhealthy relationship between the executive and the National Assembly, Senator Saraki described it as a figment of the people's imagination, saying the two arms of government are working harmoniously to make Nigeria better.
Work is going on. We'll continue to go for the interests of Nigeria. Don't let us get distracted by one or two infractions. It's bound to happen. I mean, even the America that we are copying, even today as you are watching, see what's happening on the Supreme Court. This is things that happen as part of democracy. But I can reassure Nigerians, the people, that is just a drop in the ocean. It is not an issue that will stay the whole place. Be rest assured.
So Nigerians want to know, is the relationship between the executive and the legislature very cordial?
It's cordial. You cannot examine it based on NDDC or examine it based on EFCC or we have other issues. We have, as I said, we have ministerials that we're going to be working on. I'm sure the NX will soon work on. We have the budget that is more important. We have ANE, we have PIB. We have so many things, and I think it's a mixture of all that should guide us, and don't let us overheat on some of these issues because they're bound to happen.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, who also interacted with the President separately, spoke in the same vein, saying minor disagreements are normal in a democracy for good governance and effective service delivery.
I have always said this, that as a government, our value will be in the problems that we solve. We can't be remembered for avoiding issues. We can't be remembered for running away from problems. It is only when we provide solutions to some of the things that you look at it as crisis, and some of us are looking at it as opportunity to begin anew, that people will now remember us as having put in place enduring legacies. But when we run away from trouble, run away from everything that appears to be disagreement, we'll not make it.
The presiding officers of the National Assembly were accompanied to the State House by the Senior Special Assistants to the President on National Assembly matters, Senator Ita Enang and Kao Sumaila. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
In other news, President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated eminent lawyer, administrator, and the first female senior advocate of Nigeria, SAN, Chief Felicitation, on her 85th birthday. President Buhari joins all members of the bar and the bench, her friends and family, in celebrating the landmark age of the octogenarian, whom he said has won many awards and recognitions, including the Commander Order of the Niger, CON, for her courage in pursuing the truth and advocating a better life for the less privileged. He extols the virtues of the legal luminary for the patriotism she has demonstrated over the years in speaking against poor governance and always making herself available in times of need, like working variously as commissioner in Western Nigeria and chairperson of the first television network in Africa, Western Nigeria Television Broadcasting Corporation. As a leading light in her profession, President Buhari believes Chief Sholanke's achievements have been an inspiration to many Nigerians, especially young women who earnestly yearn to pursue rewarding careers. President Buhari prays that God will grant Chief Sholanke good health and longer life to serve her country. The first technology expo in Nigeria opened in Abuja Monday with exhibition of scientific and technology innovations, investors and research findings. Minister of Science and Technology Dr. Bonaya Onu noted that the expo is a new window of opportunities that can catapult Nigeria to higher level of technology advancement. Science correspondent Kieran Umayo reports.
Speakers at the opening ceremony dwelt on the urgent need for Nigeria to move science, technology and innovation to advanced level. Nigeria, they say, cannot continue to rely on foreign technology as no nation has ever become great without developing indigenous technology to drive other sectors of the economy.
A ministry that will also look at the basic things that our people do every day and seek to reproduce them.
Any nation that desires true development and a better life for its citizenry must put science and technology in the front burner.
I am convinced that under the leadership and guidance of the present Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, science and technology sector is in a new era.
Minister, the result and the outcome of your research and development will go a long way in ensuring a re-engineered technological growth of this nation.
Minister of Science and Technology Dr. Bonaya Onu summed up the opening ceremony by urging investors to establish a working relationship with investors and innovators for possible commercialization of the nation's research findings.
I am happy that the seed we are sowing at this landmark event holds the promise of growing into a big tree that will help shape the future of our dear country, Nigeria.
The 5-day Technology Expo is showcasing the best from Nigerian scientists, technologists and innovators. Kirian Umayo, NTA News.
The Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation has signed a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, with a non-governmental organization for the full implementation of the 2017-2019 Strategic Plan for the Civil Service. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday reports that the MOU aims at repositioning the civil service for Nigeria.
President Buhari is really concerned about how the public sector, the civil service, can return to its former glory.
Mrs. Oyo-Ita said the service cannot let the nation down, especially going by the confidence reposed on it by President Muhammadu Buhari.
The civil service must not lose. To change the narrative that the service is laid back, lackadaisical, uninterested in moving forward or in actualizing the various reforms.
Private-public partnerships in the 21st century are the key gateway towards successful reform projects, whether in the private sector or in the public sector.
The beginning of a process to reposition the civil service and to give it the tools and necessary strategic direction to underpin our national development efforts.
The Permanent Secretary, Service, Policy and Strategy, Nuratu Bagatarawa, signed the document on behalf of the Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation. The strategic plan is aimed at improving the current state of the service across some critical areas, which include capacity building, full automation, and welfare administration. The 2017-2019 strategic plan was unveiled by the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo in February this year. Adebola, Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
The federal government has urged parents and guardians to monitor the activities of their children and wards in order to prevent them from being recruited by the Islamic State or ISIS, which has resorted to targeting vulnerable individuals, including foreign students, using financial inducements to recruit them into the terrorist organization. In a statement in Abuja, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, cited the recent recruitment into ISIS of 27 medical students of the University of Medical Science and Technology in Sudan as an example of the new strategy being used by the organization to recruit more members. The minister, quoting a report received by the Nigerian intelligence community, said 22 out of the 27 students who traveled to Syria to join ISIS are Britons. According to the report, the students were recruited by one Mohammed Fakri Al-Kabas, a former student from Middlesbrough, United Kingdom, with many of the students as children of reputable doctors in the UK. Al-Haji Mohammed therefore appeals to Nigerians, especially those who have children and wards in foreign academic institutions, to pay more attention to their activities, while urging students across the country to enlighten their students on the new ISIS recruitment strategy. The Nigerian judiciary has promised to accord more attention to the nation's lower courts in view of their proximity to the populace. The promise came from the Chief Justice of Nigeria in a message to the opening of a workshop for judges of area, Sharia, and customary courts in Nigeria. Femi Okewo has more.
In the line of their frequency, area or Sharia courts and customary courts do not handle most high-profile political and financial matters that catch the interest of most Nigerians. But these are the courts that handle family or community matters, and statistics have it that the greater percentage of litigations pass through these courts. Yet not much attention is paid to their welfare and infrastructural base. All these, the Chief Justice of Nigeria says, must change.
Concerted efforts have been made to put in place new laws, practices, and strategies with the aim of surmounting these challenges and speeding up judicial processes in our courts.
This workshop, with the theme Enhancing Administration of Justice in the Lower Courts, is already part of the change being envisaged by the nation's judiciary.
As an officer in the Temple of Justice, you are being watched by the larger society, and your actions and inactions must conform to the societal expectations.
Joined in the training of judges of area, Sharia, and customary courts are the directors and inspectors of these courts. In Abuja, Femi Okewo, NTA News.
And from judiciary to the agri sector, following the non-compliance by the states and local governments to the enforcement of ban on the collection of levies and taxes on agricultural produce and agro-allied products on highways, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture has constituted a committee to ensure strict compliance with the directive. The Minister of Agriculture, Chief Audogbe, expressed optimism that the move will address inflation and cost of food items in the country. Musa Babaliu reports.
Issues of multiple levies and taxes on agricultural produce have become a source of concern to farmers and marketers of agricultural produce in recent times. The government observed that non-compliance by relevant state agencies and local government authorities who enforce multiple levies and unauthorized checkpoints on transportation of agricultural produce in the country is a major factor responsible for the high cost of food items. The federal government in 2011 had placed a ban on multiple levies and taxes hitherto collected by states and local government councils, but till date is not enforced.
We also find that transporters of food items are complaining bitterly about checkpoints by local government tax officials, sometimes police checkpoints, sometimes other security agencies, demanding money from them for every truck load of food they carry. All these add to the cost.
To this end, the committee constituted by the Minister of Agriculture is saddled with the responsibility of determining modalities to ensure enforcement of the ban on collection of levies and taxes on agricultural produce by state and local government authorities.
And I hope with the sensitization that we'll do, people too will be aware that when they get to this point and we have a policy put in place that will restrict other agencies from collecting this multi-tax money from our people, because it eats into what we buy in the market.
Officials of the Ministry of Agriculture, Nigerian Police and Civil Defense are members of the committee. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
You're watching the news on NTA International from Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. Time to take another break. I'll take a break. When we return, bring you more stories.
This is a rescue mission project, the new face of Imo State Government. The Imo Rescue Mission. Imo must be better.
This is Army Worm. It is a destroyer. Operates at night. It devastates maize and other cereal crops, causing 70 to 100% damage, amounting to losses in billions of naira annually. Army worm causes huge reduction in yield, high cost of production, poor income to farmers, collapse of industries that use cereals products, and attendant loss of jobs. The economic impact is huge. Farmers, outgrowers, stakeholders in the agricultural value chain, and the general public are hereby advised to immediately report any suspected case of army worm in maize and cereals to Nigerian Agricultural Quarantine Service on. This message is from the Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Service, NAQS.
NTA International News. Africa as it is.
Thank you for staying with us. Experts on Good Morning Nigeria have said that the absence of a legal framework to clearly spell out management of recovered loots and assets has led to the uncoordinated efforts by different agencies. They suggested that the bill seeking to resolve this issue be given adequate attention by the National Assembly. Lydia Sampson reports.
Though Nigeria has signed and ratified the UN Anti-Corruption Convention, the bill to domesticate a similar coordinated legal framework is yet to be in place after it was not assented to by the President when the 7th Assembly passed the bill. This, the guest on Good Morning Nigeria say, is a setback to handling recovered loot.
Nigeria, as a sovereign nation, as a sovereign state and a member of United Nations Convention Against Corruption, do not have coordinated recovered asset management agency in place.
That the philosophy behind asset recovery is to take the benefit away from criminals so that they are not empowered to continue with what they are doing.
Chief Whip of the House of Representatives, Alassane Adodogwa, while reiterating the commitment of the National Assembly to facilitate proper utilization of recovered loot, he stressed the need for all efforts to have legal legislative backing.
We need to take very good time so that at the end of the day we harmonize all these components, all these other things coming in either from the executive arm of government and or coming in from the private member perspective, so that at the end of the day we don't come up with a law that will be conflicting.
Beyond the law comes morality. Sometimes you want to do things to lay the right principle, to lay the right procedure, to lay the right example.
The guests were of the opinion that transparent handling of recovered loots is necessary to earn the confidence of the public. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
The emergency response measures put in place on the Abuja-Kaduna Express Highway have been put to test when a tanker carrying 33,000 liters of diesel skidded off and completely blocked one side of the road and a half of the other. Kunle Adeyeye reports.
It was the first time that the effectiveness of the emergency response agencies along Abuja-Kaduna Highway was tested since the relocation of activities from Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport to Kaduna. They did not disappoint as they all responded immediately to this tanker conveying 33,000 liters of diesel which skidded and blocked the road. The emergency agencies did not, however, waste time in doing the needful to restore free flow of traffic.
You can see fire service is there, the police people are here, the civil defense, all of us are here, coordinating to ensure that we free this road as soon as we can.
Yes, the coordination is very, very cordial. It's highly cordial because the police are in charge of the traffic. They make sure that the traffic flow, while we are doing our work, they are also doing their work.
About 3 hours of coordination by different agencies, free flow of traffic has been restored on the ever-busy Kaduna-Abuja Expressway. In Abuja, Kunle Adeyeye, NTA News.
Next is business news with Olayinka Ojo.
Welcome to Business News. The federal government of Nigeria has assured American energy investors of security and enabling environment for the takeoff of a multi-billion-dollar modular refinery project in Baramatu Kingdom of Delta State, south of the country. Petroleum Minister Ibe Kachuku said this when he met the American energy investors. He expressed the present administration's concern over the huge environment degradation and environmental pollution that is associated with the unprofessional method being adopted by local refinery operators in the country. The minister explained that it is for this reason that the federal government has taken a decision to encourage the establishment of modular refinery with deliberate encouragement to local refinery operators to key into the project. South Africa's tax revenue for the 2016-2017 year rose to 1.14 trillion rand compared to 1.07 trillion rand in previous fiscal year, in line with Treasury targets in February. South Africa's Revenue Service Commissioner said that the revenue collection was constrained by low consumption, high interest rates and weakening rand. A quick check at closing figures on the floor of the stock markets. And that's it on the business segment of the news. I am Olayinka Ojo. The news continues.
Time now for highlights of stories making headlines on the foreign scene with Uche Wizu.
The United Nations World Food Programme has on Monday pledged $253 million to fund a 5-year plan to end hunger in Zimbabwe. A devastating drought reportedly left more than 4 million people in need of food aid in the country last year, forcing the government to launch emergency appeal for food from donors. Reports say Somali pirates have hijacked an Indian cargo vessel off the coast of the Portland region. Maritime officials say the cargo, which had 11 people on board, was heading from India to Yemen. Somali pirates' hijack of an oil tanker last month was the first since 2012. Reports from the Democratic Republic of Congo say the usually busy streets of Kinshasa are deserted due to a general strike. The strike, called by the opposition, is in protest of President Joseph Kabila's failure to pave way for a general election. President Kabila's term ended last year, but there has not been votes to replace him. And 10 people are reportedly killed in an explosion between 2 underground stations in St. Petersburg. Prime Minister Dmitry said the explosion was a terrorist attack. Meanwhile, an anti-terror investigation has been opened, but other possible causes are also being investigated. Uche Wizu, NTA News.
4 handball club sides to represent Nigeria in African Cup Winners' Cup in Morocco as Roger Federer goes on break until French Open in May. Deinde Sani is our guide on sports update.